everyone, it's Vicki from Minerva and welcome to our Fabric Masterclass series. So this video series is designed to complement the Minerva Fabric Guide, which is the ultimate reference guide to learn all about fabrics, especially for dressmaking. So the guide covers everything from covering the fundamental properties of different fabrics through to all about all different fibres and of course what you can make with all different types of fabric. And then in the last section of the guide we cover 70 of the most popular base cloths that are used in dressmaking, and each one of them comes with a physical fabric swatch as well, so that as you work your way through the guide you can get hands-on learning and actually feel and touch the samples in real life as you read and learn about them. So if you are interested in purchasing a copy of the Minerva Fabric Guide, if you'd love to expand your fabric knowledge, we have them in stock now at Minerva, and we can ship them out worldwide, so wherever you're watching us from you can get your hands on your own copy of the Minerva Fabric Guide. So in this masterclass video series, myself and Jo, who you'll know from the channel, we have actually filmed 2 videos to go with each of those 70 base cloths that we talk about in the fabric guide. So we're going to work through each of the base cloths alphabetically, and so today we're going to be taking a deep dive into crepe fabrics. So in my video now we're going to be taking a look at some of the crepe fabrics that we sell here at Minerva and the differences between them all, and then I've got a stack of patterns to share with you as well. So we're going to be talking about the sorts of things you can make with crepe, and also I've got some specific actual pattern suggestions to give you some specific pattern ideas, and it'll hopefully guide you on the sorts of styles that crepe really suits to be made into. And then Jo's video, which is going to be coming to the channel later on today, Jo is going to be guiding you through on how to sew with crepe fabric. And as always with Jo's videos, they're filled with hints and tips, and there's always something new to learn with sewing, isn't there? And she's also going to be sharing some maker community inspiration from the Minerva website to show you what people in the Minerva sewing community have been making with crepe. That'll hopefully just give you even more inspiration and ideas on what you can sew with this wonderful fabric. So in my video now, like I said, we're going to be focusing on fabrics and patterns and just generally what is crepe fabric. Now this might be quite a long video because crepe is a very big category here at Minerva. It's a super popular base cloth, and there's so much variety in crepe. So yeah, I've got lots to show you, so let's crack on. In the Minerva Fabric Guide, like I say, you've got in the last sort of section or chapter of the guide, we cover 70 base cloths, and each base cloth gets a 2-page spread all about it. This is the one all about crepe fabric. So let's have a chat first about, fundamentally what is crepe fabric, and then we'll get stuck into all the samples that I've pulled out, and I have a lot of different samples to share with you today. So basically, crepe fabric is a woven fabric. Most commonly, crepe fabrics are made from either polyester, viscose or silk fibres. I'll just hold one of them out whilst we're chatting about the fabric. So yeah, you'll most often find them in polyester, viscose or silk, and occasionally you'll find them woven with elastin or lycra, spandex as well, and that can give them an added stretch and recovery. But bearing in mind that is a woven fabric with stretch, so that doesn't mean it's like a knit fabric. It just means you would treat it like a woven, but you get the added benefit of it being a little bit stretchy, usually in one direction, but it a 2-way stretch, but it can be a 4-way as well, depending on the fabric. And I've got some examples of those going to be coming up in a little bit. Crepe fabric is made with a process called hard twisting, which involves twisting the actual fibres or yarns more tightly than usual when they're woven. So crepe fabrics can vary from thin and very lightweight right through to thick and heavyweight, but they all have the same characteristics in that they all have this fabulous drape. That's a common characteristic you'll always find with crepe fabric. There's many different kinds of manufacturing methods that can achieve the look of a crepe fabric. which can range from it having a very sort of highly distinctive wrinkled or crinkled surface texture, but they can also go right through to having a more silky smooth finish as well. But they all have that fabulous drape, and more commonly than not they will have, you know, some sort of crinkly sort of texture, but that texture can really vary from crepe to crepe fabric. Now, satin back crepe is a reversible fabric with a shiny satin side and a matching matte texture on the reverse. So that's often put into the crepe category as well. And with that type of fabric, you know, you can generally use both sides of the fabric. So, you know, the shiny side or the matte crepe side. And, you know, or combine both in the same garment. Now, I'm generally focusing on crepe fabrics today rather than a crepe back satin, but we'll cover those in the satin video when we come to that later in the series. Now, in the fabric guide, we do also talk about weight, opacity, drape, stretch, washing instructions, recommended needle type, and we cover some sewing tips as well. And we also talk about what you can make with crepe fabric, which obviously, you know, is what my video is focused on today. So due to that fabulous drape that crepe has, it's a very popular choice for sewing tops, blouses, skirts, dresses, wide leg trousers, jumpsuits, things like that. You could make, you know, robes with like kimono style sleeves, that sort of thing. But I think the weight of the crepe can determine very much so what you might make with a fabric. You know, what style you would make with a particular crepe. Lightweight ones tend to be more suitable for certain styles, and, you know, heavier weight ones more suited for other styles. So yeah, and we'll chat about that obviously as we work our way through the video. So yeah, that's the sort of the fundamental basics of crepe fabric. But like I said, there's just so much variety within this category, and it is a very big category at Minerva. You know, if you have your copy of the Minerva Fabric Guide, you'll know there's a QR code on each of these pages that takes you, you know, like in this case, directly through to the crepe category at Minerva. So you can search just through all our crepe fabrics, and you'll see it's a phenomenally big category. It's such a popular base cloth, and it is readily available as well. And I think because of the amounts of types of fibres that, you know, and fibre blends that it comes in, again, just adds to that range. So let's take a look through the samples that I've got, and I've got quite a lot out to share with you today to try and, you know, it's by no means all the crepe fabrics that we sell here at Minerva, but it's a very good representation of the entire range, and I've really tried to include something of, you know, of everything to show you. So this first one we've got, this is actually one of our Minerva exclusive base cloths. So this one is called Autumn Orchard. That's the name of the design. I think it's lovely, that one. And this is our silk crepe de chine fabric. So it's made from 100% silk. It's 137 centimetres or 53 inches wide approximately, and it's 69 grams per square metre or GSM, and that puts it into our lightweight category here at Minerva. Now I've organised the fabrics so that we're going to work from light to heavy, just so there's, you know, some sort of order to the pieces as we work through them. But yeah, so a silk crepe de chine, it is the epitome of luxury in the fabric world. You know, fabrics made from 100% silk, they just have a handle and a fluidity about them and a feel unlike no other fibre, really. Silk is often thought as a very delicate fabric, and, you know, it does require special attention when you're sewing it, because it can be, you know, it can be a little bit more tricky to sew with. But I mean, silk is actually one of the strongest fibres, you know, known to man. So even though, you know, its light and floaty qualities make you think it'd be, you know, very delicate, it is actually a very strong fibre. Yeah, I mean, you can see from just how I'm holding that piece up, just look at the softness and fluidity in that. I mean, it's just incredible the way it moves. Now, like I said, this one it falls into our lightweight category here at Minerva. So if this had a white print on it, like you know, a very pale print, I would say you will probably be able to see through it. With this darker print, maybe ever so slightly, but you will get away with it for most things. But yeah, in some prints, it is going to be ever so slightly sheer. And just due to the lightness of it, personally, I think this makes this fabric suitable for tops and blouses. It's very popular to make little scarves and, head scarves and accessories and things like that as well. You could certainly use it for a dress, a jumpsuit, that sort of thing. But just bear in mind, if it's a lighter colour print, you might want to line it. But also as well, it just has a very light feel. And some people would be fine wearing it just as it is like that, especially perhaps if you're on holiday in a hot climate. But some people would feel like it doesn't feel like there's enough coverage and may want to line it, regardless of whether, you could see through it or not. But that's just personal preference. So yeah, that's the first fabric we've got to show you. The next fabric I've got, so obviously 100% silk, it's definitely sort of at the top end price wise, silk fabrics, so they do come at a premium. This next fabric I've got to show you is the complete opposite, and it's an absolutely amazingly priced fabric is this one. And this comes in like hundreds of colours. It's such a popular fabric here at Minerva, and yeah, we have it in so many colours. There will be every colour you could possibly imagine. So this one is called it's a Minerva core range Soft Touch Crepe. So it's 100% polyester. It's approximately 110 centimetres or 43 inches wide, and it's approximately 79 GSM, which puts it into our lightweight category again. Now this one, by comparison, so I didn't actually mention that on the silk crepe, but the silk crepe definitely has that crepey, bubbly almost kind of surface texture. And this one, our soft touch crepe is definitely a lot smoother, but you can see it still has that fabulous drape to it. Now with this fabric, because it is so lightweight, and really because of the fantastic price point and colour range, it is actually very commonly used as a lining fabric as well, which I wouldn't say you would probably want to do with any of the other crepe fabrics we've got today. This one is, a little bit different and on its own, but yeah, especially for like lining bridesmaid dresses, wedding gowns, and often projects where you really need a very specific colour. This is very often used. But you can absolutely use it as a fabric in its own right. So again, but with it being lightweight, personally for me, it would be more suited to tops and blouses. But there are so many projects on the Minerva website where you can see people have made all sorts of garments using this fabric, jumpsuits, skirts, dresses, and if you're happy with just a lighter weight fabric, absolutely you can use it for all those things as well. And what I think especially with this fabric is, if say you are trying a new pattern, a new style to you, something you've not sewn before, perhaps a new pattern brand even, and maybe you want to do a toile first, just to make sure on the fit, and just to make sure the pattern fits as you want, before cutting into your more expensive fabric, this is an amazing fabric to toile with. It's nice and purse friendly. It's a budget fabric, so it's not going to sort of cost the earth if things go wrong. You can just be a bit freer, not worrying too much about the sort of cost of the fabric from a toiling point of view with this. And if your actual main garment, your main fabric is something like a crepe or something that's soft and drapey, perhaps like a viscose chalet, then this is a fabulous fabric to toile in, because you'll still get those same draping qualities, perhaps rather than using a calico, which is obviously more stiff and structured. So yeah, that's the next crepe fabric. Now the next pile I've got of samples, so these now we're going into the light to medium weight category, so a little bit heavier than those we've just looked at, but not as heavy yet as some of the ones that we're going to be working towards. So the next one we've got, this is another Minerva core range, and this is our Pebble textured stretch woven crepes. This is the first stretch one we've come across. So this one is made from a blend of 97% polyester, 3% elastane. It has approximately 10% stretch on the width and 10 down the length. It's approximately 120 grams per square metre, and that puts in our light to medium weight category. And it's approximately 142 centimetres or 56 inches wide. So with this one, now this one, has, you know, even more so than that first fabric I showed you, it's got a really crinkly sort of texture to it. So, I mean, I personally love that about a crepe fabric, because I think, you know, it gives something a little bit extra, a little bit special to an otherwise just completely plain fabric. And yeah, I really particularly love the texture on this one. It's another fantastically priced fabric, another one that's, you know, fantastic for toiling just because of its price point, but, you know, I mean, it's equally lovely to be, you know, to be made as the final garment as well. Now the stretch, as we spoke about, so it just has a 10% stretch, this fabric. It's a tiny amount, but it does give that little bit of wiggle room, that little bit of give. So, you know, you absolutely still treat it as a woven fabric, but as you're wearing the garment, you know, it's just got that little bit of give in it that can just make it, you know, just even a little bit more comfortable to wear, especially if you're making something that's quite a fitted style from it. As you can see, it's still got that, you know, absolutely fabulous, you know, fluidity and drape. And because it's a synthetic fibre, it's certainly crease resistant, you know, and easy care. And yeah, just a really good, very kind of textured crepe, this one. And this one, again, with it being a Minerva core range, comes in lots of different colours as well. So whatever colour you're looking for, you know, you'd be able to find it in that fabric, I'm sure. Now the next couple of fabrics I've got, so these are 2 silk base cloths. So again, we're looking at the luxury end of the market here, but they are fabulous fabrics. They're absolutely gorgeous. So this first one is one of our Minerva exclusive prints. This one is called Proud Posy. And oh, I love this print, it's one of my favourite ones. And this is the actual base cloth. This is our silk double crepe. So it's made from 100% silk. It's 137 centimetres or 53 inches wide approximately, and it is approximately 130 grams per square metre. So again, that puts it into our light to medium weight category. Now with actually comparing this to the last one, I would say the last one is still ever so slightly sheer. And I mean, this is a pale colour that we're looking at. If you were looking at the same fabric in perhaps black or in navy, you know, we would probably be saying, oh no, that's more opaque. But in the lighter colours, yeah, it is still ever so, I mean, we're only talking ever so slightly sheer, but, you know, just depending on what you're making, you may want to consider lining it, you know, depending on the style. But with this one, even though, you know, it's still in the light to medium weight category, this one is definitely opaque. You know, you can't see through this fabric. This is a darker print obviously, but even on the lighter prints you can't see through it, so you wouldn't need to line it, you know, unless that was just your personal preference. It's still got the absolutely fabulous drape, you know, with it being 100% silk. I mean, it just feels fabulous. There's yeah, nothing quite like silk. The handle of it is just amazing. And with this fabric, it does have a little surface texture, but not much. It's definitely more towards the smooth end of the crepes. Yeah, and it's just, yeah, it's all about that fabulous drape with this fabric. Yeah, and the softness and fluidity and movement that you get from 100% silk. So with, you know, the fact that this one is sort of middle of the way weight-wise, the fact that it's, you know, it's not see-through, you can make practically anything in this. So think, you know, jumpsuits, wide leg trousers, skirts, dresses, tops and blouses as well, robes, you know, sort of soft, unstructured jacket styles. So much you can make. It's a very, very versatile fabric, is crepe. I would go as far as to say with crepe fabric that if you've got a pattern for a woven fabric that requires a woven fabric that has some drape, then you will probably be fine using crepe. You know, it just requires a woven pattern that requires a drapey fabric. What you just need to take into account is the weight of the crepe. That's the main thing, really. Now the next one I've got, so this is another Minerva exclusive base cloth. So the print name on this one is Cool Confetti. It's a very fun print, this one. But as with all the Minerva exclusive base cloths, they all come in loads and loads of different prints. So, you know, you've the choice of hundreds and hundreds of prints on our website. Now the base cloth on this one, so this is our silk stretch woven double crepe. So it's actually the same as the previous base cloth, except it's got elastane woven into it. So this one is a blend of 91% silk and 9% elastane. And what that does is it gives it a 20% stretch across the width and the 0% down the length. So it's just a two-way stretch on this one. And again, it's the same weight at 130 grams per square metre that puts it into our light to medium weight category. So this one has, you know, the same surface texture, you know, it's quite smooth. It has the same fabulous drape. Everything really is the same to that last fabric, except that added stretch on across the width. So, you know, if you were making a more fitted style, like I personally would be more tempted to go for the one with elastane in it, just because I know that it's going to make it a little bit easier to achieve that good fit on a fitted style, and it's going to make it much more comfortable to wear, especially with it having 20% stretch on that width. You know, it's a decent amount of stretch that in a woven fabric. But you know, that can just be personal choice. But yeah, personally, I love a woven fabric with a little bit of stretch, because I just think it, you know, it just adds to the comfort when you're wearing them. The next one I've got, now this is another Minerva exclusive base cloth. This is a really popular base cloth in the range, and it's actually fantastic value as well. So this particular print is called Soothing Shallows, but again, with, you know, hundreds of prints available for you in this base cloth. And the name of the base cloth is our Morane Crepe fabric. So it's 100% polyester. It's approximately 145 centimetres or 57 inches wide. And this one is 130 grams per square metre or light to medium weight. And with this one, so this is actually the same grams per square metre as the previous two silks, but it is actually, it's definitely finer. On a darker print like this, you know, you absolutely can't see through it. If it had a very, very pale or a white background, you may be able to see through it slightly, you know, if you were making something super fitted. But I think in most cases, you know, you'd be able to make pretty much anything out of this and not need to worry about lining it. So absolutely perfect for tops and blouses, but also skirts, dresses, wide leg trousers, jumpsuits, robes. So much you can make from this fabric. So you can see with this one, you know, it has that fabulous soft fluid drape. It's synthetic, so, you know, it's crease resistant and very easy care. With this fabric, so Morane Crepe, it does have its own kind of texture, which is very subtle. It's not a very highly sort of textured crepe, but I wouldn't say it's as smooth as, say, the last couple that we've looked at, or the soft crepe originally. And there's something about a Morane Crepe for me that I just think that the texture of it just makes it a little bit easier to sew and handle somehow. I know I've heard and spoke to, you know, other sewists that think the same as well with this, and I'm not really sure what exactly it is that makes it a little bit easier. But yeah, there's just something about it, and it's just got, you know, such a lovely handle and weight to it. And with all those gorgeous prints available. We do actually do a Minerva core range as well that is a Morane Crepe, which is fantastic value as well. That's just the same weight and everything as this, you know, it's just a plain range instead. So if you want plains and love the sound of this fabric, then we've got those on site for you. And then the last fabric in the light to medium weight category. So this is another Minerva core range fabric. So this is our tree bark textured stretch woven crepe. It's made from a blend of 99% polyester and 1% elastane. And it actually has a whopping 60% stretch on the width, this one. It's quite an unusual fabric, this one. And it has no stretch down the length. It's approximately 140 grams per square metre. Again, that puts it in our light to medium weight category. And it's approximately 140 centimetres or 55 inches wide. So yeah, it's a very unusual fabric, this one. And I'd say out of all the fabrics I'm going to share with you today, this one has the most crepe-like or very crinkly textured surface. It's super textured, and it gives it a lovely handle. I mean, it's so soft, this fabric, it's beautiful. Now, as I said then, there's only 1% elastane in this fabric, yet the stretch on it is phenomenal. So the amount of elastane in a fabric doesn't always equate to how much it will stretch. A lot of it is to do with how the fabric is woven as well. So I would say with this fabric, I mean, it does have good ping back and recovery, but perhaps not so much so as some of the others. And that is down to the fact that it, you know, it has less elastane. But what it gives it is a very kind of soft, a very soft handle. I mean, loads and loads of drape. And I think, again, what's quite unusual about this fabric is because it's so crinkled and so textured, it makes it feel heavier than it is. You know, it is only 140 grams per square metre, but because of that texture it has, it gives it a little bit more thickness, a little bit more body. So it kind of tricks you into thinking it is heavier than it is, but it is still actually quite a lightweight fabric. So when you handle this, you know, you could be forgiven for thinking, oh, it was going to fall in our medium weight category. And it means it's certainly not see-through as well. So what can you make with this? All sorts. I mean, practically everything. Tops, blouses, skirts, dresses, jumpsuits, wide leg trousers, robes. And you can really, you know, take that stretch into effect, and it's going to make it so comfortable to wear. You know, if you were making like a fitted dress, a fitted jumpsuit, you know, perhaps a wide leg trousers that are more fitted around the waist, you know, it's going to make it so comfortable to wear. Like if you made even just some really simple elastic waisted trousers, they will hang fabulous in this fabric. And they're just going to feel like secret pyjamas. And you've got that wonderful, fabulous texture as well as that drape. It's an absolutely gorgeous fabric, this one. And price-wise, you know, it's a fantastic price point as well. It's really affordable fabric. It comes in loads of different colours, with it being a core range as well. So yeah, it's a really, it's one of my favourite fabrics, this one. I think it's an absolute beauty, and one of those that's maybe quite hard to get across on screen just how good it is. So yeah, if you've not tried that one before, I'd definitely urge you to have a go with that, because I think you'll love that fabric. So the next section I'm getting into is our medium weight crepe fabrics. Now there's quite a few in this section. You know, a lot of crepe fabrics I would say are light to medium category, and a lot fall into the medium weight category as well. So the first one I've got, this is our Minerva core range polyester Maria crepe. So it's made from 100% polyester. It's 155 centimetres wide, or 61 inches wide, and it's 155 grams per square metre. So that just puts it into our medium weight category. Now this fabric has a very, very soft feel and handle to it. I mean, it's so fluid, so kind of slinky. I would say it's probably going to make it, you know, a little bit more tricky to sew with, just because of its handle, but it will make an absolutely fabulous garment when it's made up. And it has just a slightly unusual weave to it, this one. So it does have a texture as such, even though I'd say it's definitely more towards the smooth end of crepes. But yeah, its weave is just a little bit different, which obviously you can see up, you know, really up close in the flesh. And yeah, it almost has an ever so slight, I don't really want to use the word shimmer because it's not shiny at all, but if you imagine like a sand wash Cupro fabric, you know, when they just have that like kind of sheen to them, the fabric, this obviously in a different fibre has a similar sort of look, and I just think it makes it look really classy, really kind of expensive really as well, even though it's not. It's another of our core range fabrics that's at a fantastic price point. Again, comes in loads of different colours. I think the classic navy is beautiful. But yeah, there's loads of colours in this fabric as well. I wouldn't say it's see-through. Again, if you were making something really fitted and you were making it in maybe the white or the cream colour perhaps, you know, you might want to line it then, but for most colours in most styles, you're not going to need to line this. I mean, you just make the most fabulous wide leg trousers, jumpsuit, dresses, robes, tops, blouses. Yes, such a versatile fabric, that one. The next fabric I've got, so let's have a look at so this is our core range luxury smooth crepe. 100% polyester. This is 148 centimetres wide, or 58 inches approximately. And this one is 185 grams per square metre, which puts it into our medium weight category. So this one has a different feel again to, I think, any of the other fabrics I'm sharing with you today. It's called our Luxury Smooth Crepe. It really does have a fabulous handle to it. Similar in a way to a peach skin fabric, but it has a slightly more crinkled texture than that. I mean, it's not very crinkly, you know, as we call it, our smooth crepe, but a little bit more than what a peach skin would have. And it's a little bit more soft and fluid. Peach skin can often have quite a bit of body and sort of bounce to it. So this one is like a softer version of that, hence, you know, it's in the crepe category. And you can see with this one, I mean, the drape and the hang on this fabric is phenomenal. It's absolutely gorgeous. Again, it's crease resistant, you know, easy care. With this sort of fabric, again, you know, you can make pretty much everything: tops, blouses, skirts, dresses, jumpsuits, wide leg trousers, soft kind of lined jackets or robes. Yeah, so much you can make. It's certainly not sheer, it's not see-through. Again, if you were making something in the white or cream, and you know, perhaps it was a very tight fitting garment, you know, you might want to line it. But I mean, you can often say that for a lot of paler sort of you know, paler coloured like white fabrics. But yeah, you can make pretty much anything in that one. With it being a core range, again, it comes in loads of different colours. Yeah, just a super fabric, that one. Next up I've got, so this is another Minerva exclusive base cloth. The print on this one is called Pebble Stone. And this one is our recycled stretch woven crepe. So it's actually made from 100% recycled polyester, but even without elastane in there, it still has some stretch, this fabric. So this comes from the way the fabric is woven. So it has approximately 10% stretch on the width and 20% down the length. It's 170 grams per square metre, which puts it into our medium weight category. And it's approximately 145 centimetres or 57 inches wide. So let's hold this one out. I love the print on this one. Absolutely gorgeous. Now with this fabric, so this is, I'd say it's quite a smooth finish crepe. It doesn't have lots of texture. The drape on it is phenomenal again. I mean, it has so much fluidity and movement. I would say, I mean, this one is obviously a cream background. I would say you can't see through that at all. It's a nice tight weave in the crepe, that one, which, you know, helps with the opacity of the fabric even on lighter colours. And yeah, it's just a really lovely, relatively easy again to sew for a crepe fabric. But the main thing with this is that little bit of stretch that it has, both the length and the width of the fabric. So, you know, it's not a huge amount of stretch. It's definitely more of just a, you know, a comfort stretch that's just going to give you a little bit of wiggle room in your garment. And again, with this being a Minerva exclusive range, with hundreds and hundreds of prints that you can choose from that are just, you know, designed by some amazing artists and designers that we collaborate with. So yeah, so much choice with that one. And the next one we've got, so this is a viscose crepe. So this is our Minerva Core range stretch woven viscose crepe. So this one is made from a blend of 70% polyester, 26% viscose, 4% elastane. That gives it a stretch of 20% across the width, 15% down the length. It's 230 grams per square metre, so this is the heaviest we've looked at so far. And this is approximately 145 centimetres or 57 inches wide. Now this fabric I think is beautiful. So it has a really good percentage of viscose in there, but the polyester content still makes it sort of very easy care. You know, it's not going to crease as much as 100% viscose crepe would do. And if you're looking for 100% viscose crepe, we also have those on the site as well, which are beautiful quality. But yeah, with this one, I just thought this was a little bit different to show you, with it having that extra stretch in there. So it has stretch both across the width and down the length, and again it's just that little bit of a wiggle room. I think this will be, you know, because of the weight of it, you know, it's a little bit thicker, definitely not sheer, see-through. It will be fabulous for making trousers, I think, this one. Also, you know, jumpsuits, dresses, skirts. You could certainly make tops and blouses out of it, but it is starting to feel a little bit heavier. I think as we get to the, certainly the heavier ones I'm going to come to later, you can make tops and blouses out of them, but compared to what you would maybe buy ready to wear in the shops, they would feel quite heavy as a top or blouse, and I do think this one is getting towards that as well. So yeah, there's nothing to stop you using it for that, but personally I think it suits more trousers, jumpsuits, skirts, dresses, robes, lightweight jackets, that sort of thing. But yeah, it's got the most beautiful soft handle, this, because of that viscose content. Yeah, I love it. I think it's actually quite an underrated fabric on our website, that one. We sell loads and loads of 100% viscose crepe, which is beautiful as well, but that one with the added elastane, it just makes it, and the added polyester actually just makes it a very versatile, practical kind of everyday fabric that's really going to stand the test of time and just going to be really comfortable to wear as well. The next fabric I've got, so we're on to the last two now in our medium weight category. I did say there was a lot to get through in this video. So this one is another Minerva core range, and this is called our Airflow Textured Weave Polyester Crepe. So this one's 100% polyester, it's 146 centimetres or 57 inches wide approximately, and this one is 155 GSM, which again puts it into our medium weight category. So this one has a very distinct weave. It's relatively textured, it's definitely more textured than some of the smooth ones I've showed you, but not the most textured we're looking at today. But again, it has this incredible drape and softness to it. It comes in a whole range of colours again, with it being a Minerva core range, just like the last one did. And this one is a fantastic price point. And with you'll notice that I said it was called Airflow, the type of fabric. And it is one of those fabrics that, because of the weave, how it's woven, it actually encourages airflow through the fabric. So even though it's a synthetic fabric, you still get the breathability factor. So, if you're someone that just wants something that is crease, it's not going to crease, it's very easy care, dries very quickly, so great for travelling and on holidays, but you still want breathability, then this is a really good option. It kind of gives the best in both worlds in that respect, and it is a really, really fantastic value fabric as well. I think it's another one that's fabulous for making toiles because of that. And just some lovely colours available, and just, a really lovely kind of all-round crepe fabric, that one. It's not see-through at all, but again, on the lighter weight fabrics, I think you would probably want to line it if you were making something super fitted in it. Now, so the last fabric I've got in the medium weight category, so this is another Minerva exclusive base cloth and range. This particular design is called Secura Mist. Really, really pretty print on this one. I think it's gorgeous. I love the pink and turquoise colour combination on that. I think that's so pretty. But again, we've hundreds of prints available of this on the website. Now this one is our recycled soft crepe fabric, and I actually think this is a gorgeous base cloth. It's one of my favourite crepe fabrics. It's made from 100% recycled polyester. It's 142 centimetres or 55 inches wide approximately, and it's 185 grams per square metre, which puts it into our medium weight category. Now this fabric doesn't have any stretch as such, but I would say it just has just a little bit of give. And again, that just comes from how it's woven. So it's not enough to class it as a stretch fabric, but just a little bit of give, which I think is very nice to have. It's certainly not sheer, so you don't need to worry about it being see-through at all. So again, that means you can make practically anything in this: trousers, skirts, dresses, jumpsuits, robes, soft jackets, tops, blouses. So versatile. And the handle of this fabric, it's beautiful. It's got a really lovely soft fluid drape again, even though it's a little bit of a weightier crepe. So you've got the benefit of the drape with the benefit of it not being sheer, which makes it super versatile. But also what I really love about this fabric is its surface texture. It's definitely a more crinkly, traditional kind of textured crepe, what a lot of people would think of as a crepe fabric. And it's just, there's something about that base cloth, I think it's really lovely. So if you're looking for kind of like a you know, a medium kind of all-rounder crepe in one of our Minerva exclusive base cloths, this could be a really lovely one to start with, and it's another one at a fantastic price point as well. Yeah, I just particularly love that one. And then the last two fabrics I've got to share with you, we're getting there now. So these are both in our medium to heavyweight category. So we're going a little bit thicker again. So the first one I've got, this is another Minerva exclusive base cloth, and this is our heavy triple crepe fabric. Now we actually sell this as a Minerva core range as well, that comes in loads and loads of different colours. We've sold it for well over a decade, and it's one of our best-selling fabrics. It's got fabulous drape, but the weight of it is something special with this fabric. So like I said, we do a whole range of plains in this fabric, but then recently we've actually added it to the Minerva exclusive collection as well, because it's such a popular base in its own right in the plain fabric. We thought, right, we'll add that to the Minerva exclusive collection, and I think you can make things in this, you know, this fabric suits certain types of styles, and it just has it really sort of earns its place in the collection, because it is a fabulous fabric. So with this one, like I said, this is our Minerva exclusive print. So this one is called Swishing Prints. Really beautiful kind of neutrals in that one, but you know, with it being Minerva exclusive, with hundreds of different prints available for you on the site. It's made from 100% polyester. It's 145 centimetres or 57 inches wide approximately, and it's 300 grams per square metre, which, like I said, puts it into our medium to heavyweight category. Now this fabric, so it has that kind of traditional or that sort of crepey texture that you often associate with a crepe fabric. So it's quite textured. Again, you know, it has that soft fluid drape, but because there's more weight to the fabric, you know, it does have more body to it, of course. And so, you know, what would you use for this? Now, you absolutely can make tops and blouses in this. I have done in the past before, and I do like it, but it just gives your top and blouse a different feel. So you know, you just need to take that into account, and if that's what you want, then this is fabulous for it. But where I think this fabric really comes into its own is trousers, jumpsuits, skirts, dresses, jackets, robes. All those sorts of things where, you know, just a little bit more weight, like wide leg trousers in this, so just with that little bit more weight and the, you know, the swish and drape that you get, they just make absolutely fabulous trousers, absolutely fabulous jumpsuits, and for dresses as well. You know, perhaps for something that's for maybe more of a special occasion dress, again, where, you know, that little bit of extra weight just kind of adds to the formalness of the dress, I would say. You know, makes it more of a standout special occasion dress, maybe perhaps than an everyday dress. Yeah, that's where I think this fabric comes in, and it really is a special fabric, this one. You know, with that weight, it's just absolutely beautiful alongside its stunning drape. And then, so the last fabric I've got to share with you, now this is totally different again to anything we've looked at. This is actually, so this is again a Minerva core range, and this is our deluxe 100% wool crepe fabric. So it is quite unusual to find a wool crepe. It's another one we've stocked for probably over a decade now. It's very, very popular. It's made from 100% wool. It is approximately 150 centimetres or 59 inches wide, and it's approximately 295 grams per square metre, again, which puts it into our medium weight to heavyweight category. So the weight on it is very similar to the triple crepe actually, but it feels very different. So, you know, it's made from 100% wool fibres. It is, you know, the pricier end of our fabrics, you know, and that just, it's an absolutely beautiful quality wool. You know, it is a deluxe premium fibre, this one, a very, very luxurious fabric. And you know, when you handle it, it is so soft. Like I can be quite sensitive to wool fibres next to my skin. On this one, it's not a problem because it's just so soft. You know, you can tell it's wool, but it's just such a soft wool. And you can see as well that stunning drape that it has, coupled with that weight. Absolutely beautiful. And obviously this, you know, wool as a fibre is the type of fibre that will keep you warm in winter, but it also regulates heat and can keep you cool in summer. It's one of those magical fibres. You know, I think we often think of it as a fabric just to wear in the winter, but I think, you know, probably not at the height of summer. I probably wouldn't suggest it then, but for the transition seasons when the weather can be certainly all over the place here in the UK, you know, it's a lovely option for them. And yeah, with this fabric as well, again, with it being heavier weight, so it's certainly not sheer, you don't need to worry about it being see-through, and you could make tops with blouses in it, but for me this fabric is more suited again to trousers, jackets, robes, jumpsuits, skirts, dresses. Yeah, I mean, a pair of wide leg trousers in that with a little matching soft kind of unstructured style jacket, or like a robe with kimono sleeves, it would just be absolutely stunning. I mean, a dress in it or a skirt would just be so classy. Yeah, it's such a beautiful fabric, that one. So that's all the fabrics I had to share with you. So I hope that's given you, you know, a good sort of idea of the range here at Minerva. And I've tried to, you know, pick out lots of different types of crepe. You know, we have so much more on the website. It's such a big choice. But, you know, hopefully I've covered enough there to kind of be able to give you, you know, a good idea on the different types of fibres, different types of weights, different types of weaves, and just what that means in terms of what they're suitable for making. So next up, let's take a look at the patterns that I've picked out for you. So I've got some dresses, some tops, and yeah, a whole range of different styles of garments. So first of all, let's have a look at some dresses, and we'll insert some images as we go through so you can see the patterns as I'm chatting about them. So first up, we've got the ever popular Minerva exclusive patterns Amelia dress. This has possibly been our best selling pattern here at Minerva. You guys have loved it, and this is actually one I designed, so I'm very proud of this pattern, and I'm so glad you guys love the style as much as I do. It's a beautiful V-neck, slightly fitted at the waist, flared skirt dress with beautiful flutter sleeves. It has gathering under the bust to give you shape there, darts at the back to achieve a really lovely fit. Yeah, it's just a stunning dress, and it's absolutely perfect for crepe fabrics. So, I mean, you could use any fabric that I've mentioned today for this. Anything very lightweight, you know, it is going to feel like a very lightweight dress. You know, you may want to go for the light to medium weight and up. But yeah, there's so much choice. Practically any crepe fabric will be fabulous for the Amelia. The next dress I've got is the Nova midi dress from Style Art Patterns. So this is quite a simple dress really, a very simple round neckline, sleeveless. It's all about the tiers and the gathers in that skirt section, and I just thought this was a really lovely example of where crepe can be fabulous in this sort of style, because the way that crepe drapes and hangs very softly is going to mean that all those gathers will sit really nice, they'll hang really nice, it'll drape and swish as you move. Yeah, again, you could use any of the fabrics for this dress, perhaps maybe not the very heavy ones, and maybe not anything that's very light and see-through. I mean, you could use those, but I'd be tempted to use more of the mid-weight ones on that one. Next up, I've got a jumpsuit. So this is the Norman jumpsuit, again from Style Art Patterns. And this is quite a casual, it's got a laid-back vibe sort of style, I would say, this one. So they have wide legs, there's inseam pockets, which I love. It's got a low-cut armhole, which I think that can be what adds to this sort of casualness of this style. Then it's got a V-neck at both the front and the back, which I think is a lovely style detail. It goes slightly lower down at the back. It's got short little straps that go over your shoulders, and then it's got this little elastic detail on the inside at the back, which just draws it in at the back. So it's not fitted at the waist, but it does have that little detail just to draw it in slightly and, you know, just give it a little extra detail. So yeah, I think again I would probably go for the light to medium or medium weight ones for this jumpsuit. Obviously you want something that's not sheer, but you know, it doesn't need to be anything as heavy as those the last two I showed you. But actually if you made it in one of those, it will give it a more dressed up kind of feel. Next up I've got a skirt and trouser pattern. So if you remember when we looked at the tree bark textured crepe fabric, I was saying with that one, you know, even if you just made some elastic waist, really simple pull-on trousers, you know, how fabulous that fabric would look. And when I found this pattern, so it's the New Look 6271, that kind of ticked the boxes with this for me. So it's got elastic and like a drawstring sort of waist. They're, you know, relatively wide leg, loose kind of fit trousers, which is a style that suits crepe. You know, you don't want like a fitted suit trouser pant for crepe, because, you know, that would be a style that would require a more structured fabric, whereas crepe is not structured at all. It's very drapey, very soft. So wide leg trousers like this that swish and move and, you know, have a little bit more fullness, that's the kind of style you want from a trouser for crepe. You've also got little cute shorts on this pattern, and then 3 different lengths in a skirt as well. All of them will be lovely in crepe. And then I've got another skirt pattern, which is the Evie bias skirt from Tessuti Patterns. And I wanted to include this one as an example because crepe fabric is fabulous when it's cut on the bias. You know, I mean, it has fabulous drape anyway, but when it's cut on the bias, like, wow, it's got even more sort of drape. And yeah, it would just be gorgeous in the Evie bias cut skirt. Very kind of simple pattern, that one. I think if you picked one of the prints that I've showed today, you know, it really suits a print just because of the simplicity of the style, I think. Next up we've got another trouser and short pattern here. So this is McCall's 7131. And this one is a little bit different in that it has a waistband, so it's a little bit more formal in that respect, but it's still got elastic at the back, which I really love because it's going to be nice and comfortable to wear. But what's different about this pattern is that it has lots of pleats along the front, which gives the volume of these trousers or shorts. So, and you know, it's definitely a pattern, that one, that requires a fabric with softness and drape, you know, because of all that fullness. So crepe fabric, absolutely perfect for this sort of pattern. Again, they're just going to really hang well, drape really nicely. They'll be beautiful to wear. Now in that sort of style, you know, the heavier weight ones would be fabulous, but also, you know, the light to medium or medium weight ones. I perhaps wouldn't go for something so, you know, the very thin, lightweight ones in this, just because I think they might feel a little bit too light for trousers. So yeah, from light to medium weight onwards would be fabulous for that. Next I've got like it's like a loose, unstructured kind of style jacket. So again, from a, you know, when we talk about jackets, you probably wouldn't want to make, like say, a suit blazer jacket with crepe, because for a suit blazer you need something with more structure. You know, the softness and drapiness of crepe just wouldn't lend itself to that style. But this kind of jacket, or robe you might call it, that's very soft and unstructured, absolutely perfect for crepe. So this is Simplicity 8172, and there's 4 different views on this pattern that all have slightly different details. I particularly love view C, which has, well, they all have a high-low hem, but this one kind of has an extra panel that just has a little bit more fullness in it. I think that's really pretty. I love how they've mixed 2 prints together in the same garment on the envelope there. You know, you could absolutely do that, or colour block it with 2 plain colours, or, you know, just keep it all in one. But yeah, I think just the softness and drapiness of the crepe really would suit this type of pattern. And yeah, you could actually choose any weight for this. Obviously a lighter one is going to give a much lighter feel jacket. The medium weight ones, yeah, just a little bit more weight, and then the heavier ones will feel definitely a bit more like a jacket because of the weight of the fabric. And then next, the last 3 patterns I've got are 3 different styles of top. So first up we've got the New Look 6434 pattern. This is rated as a super easy pattern, so that's great. And this is a simple round neckline, kind of, you know, straight sort of fit top. You've got different options with the hem. You've got either options with side splits, one with a little ruffle, which is really cute, or one with a scalloped hem, which I think is really pretty. And then you've got a sleeveless option, shorter sleeves, more elbow length sleeves, or a sleeve that has a gathered ruffle into it. So you've loads of different options in the one pattern. It's a very good value pattern, that one. And it's just, you know, a very kind of simple slip over top, like I said, nice and easy. I would say, you know, a lightweight crepe would be lovely for it, as would light to medium and medium weight. I probably wouldn't choose one of the heavier weight ones for this. Yeah, I just think you want something with a little bit of a lighter feel. And next up we've got the Atelier Jupe Zoe blouse. This is such a popular blouse at Minerva. So this is a V-neck blouse with darts for a little bit of shape. Just quite simple and sort of straight with a, you know, a normal sort of straight hem. But it has these beautiful sleeves that gather in slightly at about 3/4 length onto a band. So yeah, it's just very simple really, but a very wearable blouse. I think if you choose a beautiful print, then this pattern kind of lets the fabric do the talking. Yeah, and again with this one, I would probably choose between, you know, the light to medium weight crepe fabrics, perhaps not the very heavy ones. And then the last pattern I've got, which I had to include this pattern for Crepe Fabric, and this is the Minerva exclusive patterns Victoria blouse. Super, super popular pattern. So many of you have bought this and made this pattern up. Yeah, it's often one that I'm wearing in the videos. I'm not actually today, but it's often one that I'm wearing because it's just such a wearable top, I think, for every day. And yeah, in Crepe Fabric, again, you can make that in any weight crepe and it will be absolutely fine. Even a fabric that was maybe slightly sheer, you know, one of the very lightweight ones in the lightweight colours, you know, with it just being a blouse, you know, if you wore lingerie underneath that was, you know, a similar shade to your skin tone, you know, because this is an oversized blouse, you'd get away with that. And even with the very heavyweight ones, you know, just give a very different feel to the blouse. But yeah, it has, so it's a V-neck with a crossover, a fold-over detail at the front, grown on sleeves with a band around the bottom of the sleeve. It has a high-low hem, so it's a little bit lower at the back and little slits up the side. And yeah, it's just an oversized kind of very easy to wear top. I think it's another one that looks fabulous in a print as well, because you know the simplicity of the style just lets the fabric do all the talking. Yeah, nice and easy to sew, just yeah, a fabulous pattern, and definitely one that I get a lot of wear out of. That's all the patterns I had to share with you today and all the fabrics. So I really hope you found that inspiring. You know, hopefully you've either learned something from the video, or you've come across maybe a slightly different style of crepe that you know you didn't know existed, or you just haven't tried before. And hopefully, you know, it's give you lots of inspiration to take away, and you know, sort of yeah, give you lots of ideas about what you could sew in your next project. Do let me know in the comments. I'd love to know, have you sewn with crepe fabric before? It is such a popular base cloth here at Minerva, always has been, it always is. So I imagine a lot of you watching probably will have sewn with crepe, but if it's new to you, then oh, you've got a lot to look forward to with sewing with this wonderful fabric. I would say, you know, it's not the easiest fabric to sew because you know, it is drapey and a little bit slippy. Like we rate it in the fabric guide as 3 out of 5 hearts for difficulty. But absolutely watch Jo's video that's coming later today, because she's lots of hints and tips on how to handle crepe. And yeah, and once you've kind of got used to its more drapey, slippery nature, you know, and coupled with lots of Jo's tips and techniques, you know, you soon get used to this fabric. And I think it's one of those that the extra kind of time and maybe care that it takes when sewing it is totally worth it for the end garment, because it just feels fabulous to wear. And you'll find that lots of things in ready to wear and you know, the high street and designer brands are often made with crepe. It is such a versatile fabric. So yeah, do let me know in the comments, have you sewn with crepe fabric before? If you've not, would you love to give it a try, and what sort of style are you thinking? Let me know in the comments. As always in these videos, so we'll tag everything that I've mentioned product wise below, so the fabric guide, all these different fabrics that I've talked about, and the patterns as well. So if you click on any of those links on Minerva, you know, it'll take you through to the product page. You can see, you know, what other solid colours those Minerva core ranges come in. You can see all the fabric details, you can see the prices obviously, and of course the wonderful thing on the Minerva website is, you know, anybody that's made something using these fabrics or patterns that have shared them on the website on Minerva, you know, you can see their wonderful makes, and it's just full of, you know, inspiring you know, people's makes to take a look at, and you know, just to kind of give you ideas on what you could make as well. Just to mention as well, we do offer super fast free worldwide delivery here at Minerva, so wherever you're watching us from in the world, we can send parcels out to you. We do offer a sample service on all of our fabrics as well, so if there's any, you know, if you just want to maybe compare a couple, or you know, just have a handle and see if them in the flesh before committing to buy, that's no problem at all. We do sell all our fabrics in increments as well, so you only need to buy the exact amount you need, so there's no wastage. And we do offer a thread matching service as well, so we can take the difficulty out of thread matching online for you. So I think that's everything I wanted to mention today. I really hope you've enjoyed that. I certainly loved putting everything together for this video. Crepe Fabric is definitely one of my personal favourites as well, and yeah, there's just so many beautiful fabrics in this category. And don't forget to check out Jo's video that's coming to the channel later today, where she's going to be talking all about how to sew with this wonderful fabric. You know, and as always with Jo's videos, they're packed full of hints and tips, so there's always something new to learn in sewing, isn't there? So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Do give this video a like, do give us a follow if you enjoyed it, and do leave us a comment below telling us, have you sewn with crepe fabric before? And thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back again next time with the next base cloth in the Minerva Fabric Guide.